products, idea, like how to deal with development.
Nothing go by the plan, but you still need to have it.
Everybody wants to launch the product to the market as soon as possible.
What you need to know is your key differentiator, market, potential customers, everything, before you actually write the single line of code.
Hi everyone, we are happy to see all you here. Today we are holding our first podcast and we are very exciting. My name is Oksana and I am interviewer today, and with me is Andriy. Hi Andriy, nice to see you.
Yeah, hi.
So Andriy is a founder and CEO of product-oriented software company located in Ukraine. And today we are going to talk a little bit about products, idea, like how to deal with development. And during this conversation, we are going to define a few lessons which Andriy learned during development of more than 100 software products.
128, if to be precise.
Okay, so product-oriented sounds quite complicated to understand from the beginning. So can you explain it in more easy way?
Okay, so what does mean product-oriented, and what we are doing, what actually LinkUp Studio company of mine doing? We work with people who has the ideas, but not only the ideas itself, but also enough passion to implement those ideas. So usually we work with someone who wanted to change the world. Let's call it like that.
Okay, interesting. And as I know, the slogan of your company sounds like everything starts with the idea, but only results are matter. So can we tell that idea is like, it is important, but it's not the guarantee of the success?
Well, let's say like this. Ideas is important, but not to harm anyone's feelings. It's not the most important thing in the development of the software, digital software product, let's call it like this. So important, but not the most important. You know, a lot of people had the ideas. Not all of them can go to the proper implementation of that ideas. And only small percentage of all above can actually get some real result that actually change the world.
And has you had the situation when client came to you, like product owner, and you don't understand the idea completely?
Well, okay, I need to get some kind of explanation. So we always analyze the ideas, because that's really weird, and sometimes you really can't understand. So the right process, and I believe the only right process in this situation, is to analyze the idea before. And when I tell analyze, I literally mean analyze. So you like market, potential customers in the second round, product owners, everything, before you actually write the single line of code, because writing the code is already expensive stuff. And but I have the funny story about understanding of the idea. Once we have the great project, it was about having the chat in some kind of the GPS location. So for example, you're sitting in the cafe and you can have the chat with everyone who's sitting in the same cafe, and when you move like 30 meters away, you have the different area and different chat on that place. And that was a feature which no one's actually did not understand. And our product owner, he couldn't explain it to us properly. That feature was the working camera on the background. So when you have a chat, on the background of the chat, you have something that your camera see. And that was the technical problem, because camera spends lots of battery. So when you use the software, you basically, your phone just go off in like 3-4 hours. And that was literally the problem, and no one could understand why do you need, instead of black or white or whatever background, the camera. And this is a small point when we actually didn't understand those features. But keep in mind that the project was about GPS location. And when we go outside to the street and starting to test, and when you go with your phone and you put your eyes down chatting,
Oh.
You see,
I
you
see.
see where do you put your
Okay,
next
you
step.
see your legs, where are you going?
Yes, and you
actually
don't
your
fall
step.
down. You don't go to the wall. And just think about that. This is the very common problem. People usually are going into the walls because they are staring into their phones.
Yeah, actually, I had such a situation when
Yes.
you're going chatting and you can crash the tree. So
Exactly. And then we understood this is genius. This feature is genius. And I'm not sure did our product owner realize that, but we obviously left that. Just add the special checkbox to turn off in case you don't want your phone to go down too soon. Like that's the only feature we add to this. And well, so such kind of cases may happen. So I would resume that, in case you don't understand idea, before you analyze that, you don't need to have some kind of the assumption too soon. So that's what I could say about that.
okay, so we have the first lesson. If you don't understand the idea completely, it doesn't mean it is not worth to try it, to implement it.
Yeah, I would say so.
So, and but everybody understand that not every product can be successful, and we are not working we are not living in a fairy tale. And but sounds when you're talking, it sounds like every product which you are doing are successful.
Okay, to be completely fair, no, of course no. We have the same percentages of success and failure that in average people, but slightly more. So I would say that working with us and working with someone who already have experience in the technical way and in the market way, it's make your probability higher. I mean, and when I say probability higher, I mean, getting some funding from investors, getting your first onboarding user and whatever.
And did you have a situation, when everything started well and you was expecting a great product, very successful, but in one moment, thunder in the sky and everything going not by the plan?
Well, okay, about the plan. I must tell that always, nothing go by the plan, but you still need to have it. You still need to have it. About that kind of situation that you're talking about, well, we had once this kind of thing. So we used to work with the great real estate startup from Australia, and the idea was that you have three users. You have tenant, you have the landlord, and you have the property managers. And the whole idea of the startup was to give this market the transparency, so all of those three users can leave the review about each other. And the lawyer, which they consulted in the beginning, told that everything great. And we worked hardly 2 years. That startup had the few great pivots. They got exhibitions, they got user approvals, all of that kind of stuff. And in the end of the day, when we was already on the market, I don't know, different lawyer or maybe the same one, I'm not sure. Well, in the end of the day, they realized that it is prohibited by the law to leave review about the tenant, because tenant is just the physical person. You can't, it's kind of, you can't just leave the review, it's illegal. And that's it. And those guys supposed to do very, very hard pivot to keep themselves alive. And I would assume that 40% all functionality, all the money and all of the efforts that we had spent just drawn down because of that basically low problem.
Interesting. I communicate a lot with the product owner, and people are more tend to talk about the strong point of their platform, and they didn't like to talk about weak points. So actually lessons which we can get from this case, we have to care about the weak point of our platform. So when we can beat it, we can make product more successful.
Yeah, and about the lawyers as well.
So we have to have lawyer in our team, actually.
Well, not exactly, but in case that may be sensitive and you usually can understand it by the common sense, well, you at least need to have some kind of the consultation before you go ahead.
And okay, so next my question may feel a little bit fancy, but what will you suggest to the person who wants to change the world?
Well, think about what exactly, and exactly, will change the world. Because, well, what is your key differentiator? Because just think about that. Clubhouse. I mean, it's doing the same shit that you can do on YouTube, but they got popular. I don't know, Instagram, which is not startup long years ago, but you can doing the same shit that on the Facebook, and it's still working. But what they got something special for those users who are interested in that, and that's it. So what you need to know is your key differentiator. Well, and a lot of hard working, obviously. Explaining that key differentiator to the people around. So some kind of the strategy. And so you need to think about something small in the beginning, and only after that, only after you understood what people wanted from you, you can add all of those bells and whistles. Because actually when you start something, you may think that feature A is on the highest priority and like feature C is on the lowest one. But in the end of the day, when you go to the market, you understand that no one uses feature A, everyone wants feature C. And you need to be ready to make this, fast turn and fast pivot in case you need it. But focus on the feature A in the beginning just to understand that.
I believe that it's connected with the pain of their product owner. They always want to make something big with a lot of functionality, a lot of features, because in this case they can get to the more wide market. So when they made something small, they think that they will lose some part of the market, which is actually not. If you have good MVP and you make this good analysis in the beginning and you understand what your user want. So actually we can make the lesson 3, so which means start small and think about it.
Yep, I believe that's the great conclusion of my work. Thank you.
Okay, and if talking, for example, we have MVP, we know what we are going to do. How much time product owner have to allocate for the development, because it's also a pain of people today, timelines, everybody wants to launch the product to the market as soon as possible, and sometimes they don't understand the full scope of work which have to be done. And they set not realistic timelines before development team. This kind of the stories when product owner came to you, I believe you had it for sure, that I want to develop application like Uber and I have a timeline of 3 months. What do you do in such cases?
Well, okay, so small remark about the Uber. Uber business is not about software development. Uber business about the taxi and the concept of sharing economy. So software in their case, it's not the most important part, I would say it like that. But regarding the timelines and all of that kind of stuff, well, you need to understand that you need to deliver some kind of the key differentiator, which I told you, on the highest quality. That thing that you're talking about, it's called the time to market, and people are usually worried about the time to market. And just understand me right, it is the right way of doing such kind of things. But in case you will deliver the product to the market 2 months later than your competitor, but it will be much higher quality, well, that just means that your competitor prepare market for this new changing world product, because everyone will go to you because of the better quality. And sometimes, quality is much more important. It's way more important than the timelines. And sometimes you need to push on that. Well, not sometimes, you always need to push on that.
So the lessons 4, we can tell that quality is the key.
Yes, quality is the key, obviously. Yeah.
And but how about just put few more developers to the team and develop the same quality, but in a shorter timeline? Well,
first of all, you must understand that building the great digital product is, I would assume, 40% about developers. I would assume that. And I am the CEO of software development company, but that's the reality. When you need to build a great product, when you need to digitalize your business, it's not about development, it's about business. Mm-hmm. And you tell more developers, 9 months, they don't born child in 1 month. It just doesn't work like that. And sometimes, yes, that may help. You can get more people, more resources, and it's working. But sometimes you have, one-man job, and better have, small team that extremely focus on your features that deliver instead of big team when you have lots of calls, lots of communication, but in the end of the day, nothing to deliver into market. So that's, I believe, very important part of that.
Okay, so we have very interesting lessons 5. So don't try to born a child for a month with 9 months.
Yeah, that's true. I believe so. That's very common mistake, I would say.
Okay, and talking about like pictures which we have right now, so we have kind of the puzzle which start to gathering together. So we have to develop something small, allocate for it enough time to deliver a good quality, which will allow us to beat the competition. So let's precise that everything happened. We have a great product on the market. We have users who love to use it. So what we have to do next?
Well, okay, that's a great question. And I must emphasize that that's possible. And we have lots of product that come into this stage, and currently they have the real user, they got the real investors and the real problems, basically. And in the good sense of word, problems. And the main lesson which I learned and which I would recommend to those people who are on that stage is product is a king. And again, product is a king. Why? Well, because then you need to look what people who use the product want. You need to understand, like, you have 3 users, they want some kind of the features. Does it worth to implement those features? Do you have enough budget to implement those features and live long enough until those users left? Maybe you don't need to implement features that required by 3 users. Maybe you need to find another things. Maybe you need to implement features that no one wants, but you see that in the future it will be important stuff. So you got lots of good problems in a sense, because you have something to work with. But in case like some of the team member got some kind of the personal ambitions that are not aligned with the product, well, that's the problem. So everything that you do and everything that you need to keep in mind, always keep in mind that your product need to tell you what to do next. And I would say this is the very common problem that people are so happy with their success that they forget that this is just the beginning. Actually, you just got to that point where something that you thought will change the world starting to change the world. But it's just the beginning about that.
So lesson 6: product is a king.
Yeah, for sure.
And I believe that it goes from this point, when people tend to think, continue this what you told, people tend to think that product development is a race for a short race, but it's actually the marathon, and you have to be always active, you don't have a time to relax.
Well, that's totally true. And there is the dogma that comes from us from Silicon Valley, I believe, that, fail fast. And some of the people, I believe, understood it wrongly. Why? Because fail fast doesn't mean create the idea, start something, and then just stop to doing that. No, fail fast mean going in the one line and try different things in the same concept of product and understand of the features. Don't give up on the product itself fast, but give up on the ideas and the features which doesn't help the product, which doesn't make your product a king, basically, right? So that what I would assume about that.
So the lesson 7 is product development is not a short race, it is a marathon.
Yeah, it's not about even software engineering. It's about, way of dealing with your failure, understanding those, making assumption, and get up again. It's the very common thing, and I believe everyone already sick about this, but it's very important to stand up one more time that you fail. That's it.
And not the less important, but I believe very important, is the product owner role in all this process. I believe what approach have to be when you're you decide to become the product owner, you decide to change the world, and what approach you have to your product, how it's important, how it's influenced the product success.
So it doesn't matter, are you making the totally new product or you are digitalizing existing business. It doesn't matter, are you hiring your in-house team or you hiring team which is spread all over the world like LinkUp or whatever. It's very important that you have transparent and trustful relationship in your team. And again, I'm not talking only about the software engineers, designers, business analytics, QA, and whatever people can work there. Everyone. Each team member need to have their brain focus on the product development. And development, again, not in the sense of the software, but in the sense of the product. In case someone of the team member don't understand it, well, what they're doing there? I mean, it's not aligned with the product strategy. Again, they're not thinking about product is the key. That doesn't work. But I believe the key is communication and transparency. And what we are doing when we start working with some idea, when we start working with the product, we do whatever we can to break the ice as soon as possible. Because, well, that's the very common thing. You gather some people, they didn't know about the other, before. Maybe some of them knew them, maybe some of them know, but still, you don't have trust. And you need to find a way to gain that trust as soon as possible. What we do in LinkUp Studio, we're trying to deliver something that kind of show our expertise and explain to the people with whom we work in that, okay, guys, we really understand and we really know what we are doing and we're not going to fail you. And we have this mind inside of our heads that product is the key. And I believe I told that already 10 times, right?
Actually, yeah.
I hope everyone understands. But yeah, again, so the trust is very, very key feature. And in case you can't build the trust, maybe this is not the right people to work with.
But has it happened, for example, that you are like doing best what you can do, to build the trust, to show their product owners that you are the team who he can trust, but you didn't see the steps from his side?
Well, yeah, that used to happen, and I believe that always the thing that you need to work with. I think that, human being is the only animal on this planet who actually can speak. But people don't use this feature. People don't use this feature at all. And
turn off.
yes, basically yes. That they don't express their feeling. They are not being transparent and all of that kind of stuff. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to tell exactly what is happening. Like in case we see some kind of the problem, in case we have miscommunication, we tell them about that directly. And in the end of the day, even through hard talk, even through some kind of the conflict in the good way of that word, you get into the transparent and trustful relationship and you can move the product. And well, we never had the situation when we're not, but I believe that in case someday we will come to the point when I understand that our team and our product owner are not in trustful relationship, maybe that makes sense to stop it and, each go with your own way.
And the final lessons which we can get from this story. So the lesson 7, like we are human, we can communicate. So don't forget to turn on this feature in your mind, and communication and trust with your partner.
For sure.
So it actually was my last question for you. We have a great and productive talk today. I believe we discussed a lot of interesting topics and give some value to our viewers. And I would like to make a small conclusion of everything what we have discussed. So 7 lessons which we get from today's conversation. If you don't understand idea, it don't mean it's not worth it. Always looking for the weak point of your product. Start from small and quality and grow it gradually. 9 months, don't born a child for 1 month. Product is a king. Be prepared for a marathon. Take a bottle of water. And communication and trust in partnership. So I believe it's all for today. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you guys.